Alcron Balakale with the Panama. You know that the the room will surely be hot. But today we're talking about Kwara State. I think Kwara State was created on May 27th, 1967. Kwara State clocks 58, I think, just last day, on this day last week. And subsequently, 2 days later, that was the official inauguration day of the Nigerian Executive Governors and Presidents, which is the May 29th. And then we have a government that clocked 6 years on that day. One of the most historic government in the history of Kwara, because Kwarans in 2019 decided that they wanted to change hands, and they also get tsunami swept the long enduring dynasty, and then a new hand was brought in, and that is what we found ourselves. But we have Comrade Balakale to tell us what it feels the Kwarans have been able to get from the Otoge struggle 6 years on. And also, maybe he has traveled a lot as somebody that travels. His work is a demand that he travels. So, he will be telling us where he think he believes Kwara should be by now. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thanks so much. Good evening, listeners and viewers, and even the readers. Because lots of people are reading us on social media. Anyway, it's good to back home because JU Just Events Online is a platform for all of us. You are giving us the opportunity to hear our voice and to speak for Kwarans and Nigerians.
Thank you for giving us voice to project to the people. So because when you speak, we project. If you don't speak, we don't project. Yorùbá kò sí ti bá sọ bá ṣe kí ni bá láfẹ́ náà.
Fúlàní làwọn àgbẹ̀ Yorùbá débẹ̀. Àdúgbò sọ ní Fúlàní.
Fúlàní mi ò kàn gbódì.
So thank you, man.
All right, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here once again.
I want to make an analogy. Maybe I don't know if you would like this analogy, but you may not agree that you are a prominent factor or you're a prominent player in the Otoge struggle that brought in the current administration that clocked 6 years 5 days ago. But agree to it or not, you were a very strong voice. They say we need to change. And you were always saying that you have nothing against the family, but you believe we deserve to exercise our democratic right and change that if we wish to. And Kwarans have changed hands 6 years on. How would you rate the new hands?
Yeah, thanks so much. The first thing I would like to say is that Otoge struggle is not an individual struggle. It was a struggle of our collective efforts. And as I usually tell people that if you are asking for the victory or the profit of Otoge struggle, I used to say that you've achieved. The first achievement of Otoge struggle is that we were able to defeat the then incumbent government. Because the victory of every revolutionary movement or every struggle, it is not in what you achieve with that struggle. The primary victory is that achievement, the effort you put in. If you are able to put in the effort, that is the primary victory. And then achieving your goal is the secondary victory. Why other things you can talk of their tertiary victory. So Otoge in Kwara State, I will say it 100%, it was a victorious struggle by Kwarans. Now, coming to what we can call the achievement of Otoge. Discussing the achievement, that we are going to analyze the social and economic achievement of the present government.
Yes.
And as a student of statistics, we deal with data, we deal with fact. That's why I say that statistics is a scientific way of making decisions. But I would like to take us back to our SS1 in secondary school.
Okay.
There's a particular subject we call economics.
Yes, I did.
And the first topic they will likely teach every student in SS1 is definition and concept of economics. If my memory will not fail me, they will say that economics can be defined as a social science which study human behaviors a synergy between S and scarce means which have alternative uses. But in the concept, I think we have 6 or 7 concepts of economics. The first one is wants, which is synonymous with what? Needs. So every individual has his or her wants or has needs, likewise the state. And there's this particular adage that human wants are insatiable, that you can never satisfy human wants. So definitely there is no government or there is no organization that can does it all. It is a continuous, it is a system that will continue, to move forward, to progress. So when you now have the first thing is to know your needs. When you have your needs, there's another concept that talks about the scale of preference. That's when you have your needs, the next thing is to now prepare your needs in accordance with the priority.
Thank you, sir.
They will say either in ascending or descending order. So I'm trying to remember those words. But you have to list out you have to understand your wants and they have it on a scale of preference. So after the scale of preference, another concept comes which we call choice. That you select from your scale after arranging them in the order of priority, you select from it. Because we now be talking about another one that's talking about the opportunity cost. Those that you are unable to meet the cost of not be able to meet those ones. So that is the elementary of economics. And that is the elementary of governance. And that is why in governance we talk about budgets. Budget is a plan of your revenue and your expenditure for a financial year. So now if the government under democracy, they said that the best of democracy is a democracy that executes the function of the government in alliance with the interest of the people.
Wow.
Because the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It is not about what the governor feels, or what the speaker feels, or what the chief judge feels. It should be the feelings of all the people. That the concept of the people is very key in governance. Now, in Kwara State from 2019, I would like to firstly congratulate Malam Abraham Abrasak for the 6 years in office. Without denying the fact, he has done well in some areas, and where there are some areas we need to criticize him. We need to set creative tension for him to do more on that aspect. The constitutional role of every government are just two. What are the constitutional laws? We talk of the security and the welfare of the people, the security of lives and property and the welfare of the people. This constitutional rule is what we use to define what we call the services of the government. What are the services of government? Social services and economic services. Social services involve like building of school, that is education, health, and some other things. Why the economic services, the major purpose of economic services is to generate or to improve the economic growth or development of the state. And if you want to analyze the government of Abraham Abrasak, we are going to analyze it based on those two services that constitute the constitutional responsibility. It is not about the governor, I have relationship with him, he gives me this, he gives me that. No, it's about the mandate given to him.
Okay, sir.
Now, let's start in this way. During a meeting between some governors and the president, I'm talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Our governor, as the chairman governor forum, made two statements. He said, truly there's inflation. They will temper the inflation we have in the country. The money the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is giving them as fact override whatever the inflation. That means that the government is getting more than what they expect as federal allocations. Secondly, he said what he has achieved within the short period is more than what he has achieved in the first
4 years.
4 years. So that is the answer to where I'm going. Because there's no magic in governance. If there is no fund, there is no magic you are going to perform. Then when you have the fund, That is when you can now measure your intelligence, your IQ, and your visionary leadership system. Now, the first tenure of Malam Abraham Abrasak, I don't need to say much about the government self has said it.
How did
He
this?
said within this short period of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
He has achieved
he
more
has
than he
achieved
did in
more
his
than in his
first four
first
years.
4 years.
Like, do you think that's what government?
Perhaps, though I'm not so good at English, but I don't think it makes another minute to me.
Okay, let's
Now,
let's go with
let's
your own understanding.
with my own understanding, it's just simple. Governance is continual, and when you are seeing the position, you inherit both
Liability and assets.
liability and assets. When they come in 2019, thank God he came in during the second tenure of
President
President
Muhammadu
Muhammadu
Buhari.
Buhari, which is Muhammadu Buhari must have been solving some of the problems they inherited from the PDP. Because the problem then wasn't about the state alone. Why we led the Autogas struggle, it wasn't only about the state. We had some problem with the federal as well. That's why I used to tell people that you cannot, if you are criticizing former governor Ahmed Fatai, you should sometimes you need to be conscious of what you say. It was a regime that more than 25 states are owning workers' salary. That's to tell you that's a central problem. If more than 25 states governor,
That's more than 50% of the states.
yes, are owing workers' salary, and sometimes the federal government borrow money to meet their current expenditure. That's to say there was a problem. Do you get that? So people need to be conscious about that. But under this present government, the issue of allocation increases. Before the government came on board, after before 2019, the fact, the IGR, everything has picked up because Nigeria had that major problem between 2015 and 2017, 18. That is when Nigeria had that serious economic problem. You get that? But before Nigeria will leave the power, the economy has started picking up.
Are you saying that every economic downturn that we had was between 2015 and 2019? I mean,
No,
2018.
we've had the previous. I'm only talking
But
about
the
the
major
recently.
one, the
The
recent,
recently.
most recent
No,
ones.
because we don't need to worry about it. If about 25 states could not pay the salary
I'm trying to
of
drive.
their
I'm trying to
workers,
drive something. Are you saying that this current administration in Kwara State cannot say that they've experienced the kind of economic downturn that the government that came before them has experienced?
well, I don't agree. They cannot. They can only make reference to the COVID period, the period of COVID, and the period of COVID is what do you call something in disguise. It was a blessing in disguise because most of the state governments, because all this money are just coming.
Are you saying that it was a pleasant, as much as many people would like to paint COVID bad, so the government should not say because money will come in.
COVID turns some people to finite human beings. All these social investment programs, most of them are because of
Are you saying that because some people is probably working with power as cabinet members, are you saying that but maybe one way or the other, you later shown that maybe you had a regret.
Well, I won't say whether he had a regret because.
But are you saying they were not up to standard?
Because
Are you saying they were not up to
you can
standard?
only regret. You can only regret something if what you did,
You
you have the understanding of what you did, and you did it with the genuine reasons, and that thing failed you. Do you get it? And that thing failed you. Do you get that? But I don't want to. I want to believe maybe because of the pressure of Otoge struggle that made the governor to constitute such cabinet then.
What kind of cabinet? Like you're referring,
This is the cabinet.
them as such cabinet. As if
This is the cabinet. This is the okay. Because people don't know why the government dissolved them after 1 year. It's a very simple question. The people that you brought together to drive the policy, your program. Let me start an example. It was the period that we have the commissioner that said some people hack his Twitter account. Twitter account, to sell, to tweeted some wrong information, whatever. And he said that they are well-wishers. Did you get that? They are well-wishers. A lot. So, to start with the cabinet constitution, I think that was a problem.
No, but I want to ask you a question. This current government, I think the first time I heard him wanted to be a governor was in 2011. The first time I heard of him was in 2011, the CPC days. And in 2015, I think he ran for the Senate seat of the Kwara Central. Didn't you think, can you take a look at our political culture in that regard? If you've been running for governorship in a state like Kwara, I don't think Kwara is that large. I'm not saying Kwara is small, but shouldn't he have some people he has envisioned to say, okay, you have become the governor of this state. I think Solo Barkendo can be my advisor on immigration. I think this can be my advisor here. Would you not now get in and then later after 1 year you realize that these people are not up?
Well, I share from your I expected him to have people that he feel can work with. Because the first one that I introduced Malam Adama to me was one of our senior committee, Bolariwa. I think he's now in Abuja. He was the first person that introduced Malam to me.
Is it not BOB?
No, Comrade Bolariwa, not BOB.
Okay,
Bolariwa.
so you say Bolariwa.
If anybody that's very close to Malam Adama from 2011 is watching this or reading this, they will know the person is Comrade Bolariwa. Comrade Bolariwa was a kidder among the likes of Comrade Kadalas, Comrade Asapolo Koba. Those are they are our senior kidder in comrades in Lagos, and they were very, very one of the finest comrades I've ever worked with. Is from Ilorin. So it was the first person that introduced Malam Abrahama Abrasak to me. That is when you always just see some billboard with just few captions. That's when Malam Abrahama Abrasak was. So but what I'm saying in that question, I think these people that are very close to the governor before he became the governor. But that should even be the requisite to judge him.
Okay.
What will I be the requisite is that? Where was he coming from? He was coming from private sector. How did he extend the private sector? How did he manage human in the private sector? The human resources before you talk.
Well, I think we shouldn't really touchlight that private sector a bit because I just want to say something. I think I grew up during the days of Governor Muhammad Al-Abila. I'm very sure of that. He was a governor. He was a fine military officer. That was his background. The person that came after him was a trained medical doctor and later a banker. The next one that came after him was a banker. But when you talk about Governor Abdulrahman, don't you say, we only say it comes from the private sector. Which part of the private sector? Is it the health sector, the finance sector?
What they made us believe that it came from the oil and gas sector.
Okay.
Energy sector. Okay. But you know what I used to tell people that every military person undergo leadership training. That is why, even though if the military are corrupt, but that leadership horror, you see it in them. Because you cannot grow a military without passing through this leadership training. They have the knowledge. That is why if you see the military, look at what they are doing. you look the way they exert authority. And if you look at the project they executed, you see the quality there. You get that? It's different from it's different from the civilian government that you don't even know the antecedent of many of them. They only come with money and they become whatever they want to become.
No.
But we know it's not that great from what we are.
Exactly.
From what we are discussing. Let us have.
Exactly.
So now I was talking about the social sector. That means the social services of the government. In terms of education and some other thing. I would say the government try to lay a foundation for its agenda.
Okay.
You get that? But one thing about social services is that once you have the money, you can easily execute them. When you have the money, and if there is money, I can ask you that go and start Adagba Road. If I have the money now, go and build a data hospital.
Go and erect a platform.
If I have the money now, go and clear baseball park for Doba. That is one thing about social services. But so it does not require any much strategic, progress. But it only comes in. We have education, we have schools.
Yes.
You can build school, you have the money, but that does not translate to having quality
Education, yes.
You can build hospital,
but that does not translate to quality healthcare.
Now, that is on social services. Then the economic services, it has to do with your intelligence. It has to do with your understanding of how to create wealth.
Don't forget that this administration has generated more revenue than the administration before.
Why are you talking like this? You should not join them. You should not join them discussing like this. Definitely.
The numbers are there.
You should not join them talking like this. If I want, okay, how much were you taking before? How much are you collecting now? You don't expect state IGR to be going backward when Naira is losing its value. You don't expect the state IGR to be going backward when they increase salary.
Are you saying by
pay as you earn?
Yes.
Contribute the largest portion of our IGR. So immediately you increase the salary of workers,
your IGR will increase.
The IGR will increase. There's no magic in this IGR. People should stop saying that. And again, every charges of the government has increased because they are calculated based on percentage. The Naira has lost its value. What will you do? What will you do with other Naira before President Tinubu? You cannot do with other Naira now. So you should expect the IGR to go up. So when people are talking about that, I just laugh. But what we need to let us investigate the efforts of the government.
Okay.
The IGR efforts. So definitely it will increase. Salary has been increased 2 times.
Yes, sir. Since the government,
yes.
We have to give kudos to
and you will also remember that. Excuse me. You also remember that they reviewed the PE table recently, just to correct some. I give it to them. But all this thing will definitely increase. It will definitely increase the hand. So I don't think there's any magic there. If you are going to commend anybody, we should commend Professor Awodo. That came with the template.
Did he appoint himself?
No. There are 2 different things. One thing is to appoint a person. Another thing is to perform well. Okay. I will agree with you that you can just commend the person for identifying him.
Okay.
Are you getting that? Because just like you are talking about the issue of Kwara State in 1967, Abi.
Yes.
I think our first one was David Bangboye. David Bangboye focus was on how to create a developmental program for the state. They get it. He has started it. Taiwo came, other people came, George Ene came. So all of them, they are building what they do. Now let me just move quickly. When Governor Lawan came on board, what did he do? You know how Ilorin works. If you are very familiar with Ilorin.
I'm very familiar with Ilorin.
You should know how Ilorin was before Lawan. Lawan started the program of expanding Ilorin, of open up Ilorin.
Exactly.
Bukola sustained it. This Yidi Road, this place they call Irewolede. Irewolede was Adinimale.
Yes.
For people that know, it was Adinimale.
Yes, Adinimale.
Dualization of that road and the mandate one open up the place. Bukola came and built on it. This mandate market, all this, this annex of the Ilorin. What are you coming to do there? Dualization of that road, the siting of a mandate market, and development started coming up there. It was done by Bukola Saraki. Look at Agbabiaka. The road was clear. Development come up there. You know, there are some things that if you put in place, they will bring about development. Schools, housing, market, they will transform the place. Look at Malete. Malete before Kwasu, I think the community had one popular secondary maybe GSS. And for the people that knew that place, they will know there's a particular woman in that place that was selling minerals.
Minerals and water. Other.
What he was using it was this charcoal fridge. But when they cited after the establishment of Kwasu, you know what Malete has become today. So then let us continue from we shouldn't lose this track. Now the economic services of the government. I will say that the government has not done well in the economic services. Because the end of the economic services is to create platform or economy to create services that will create more jobs and generate more revenue for the state. It could be through PPP. It could be in any form. But the government will have hand in it. That is why dividend is one of the components of the HGR of the state. And some of the projects, the government told us that they usually advertise with job creations and the job creation and then the revenue generations. I think we can mention some of them. We talk of garment factory. We talk of innovation hub. We talk of factory arts center. We talk of sugar film factory.
Like these are the successes of this current administration.
Well, they will be, but there are two different things about the economic services. Establish economic services one, developing the business model is another. Because the business model is like the operating system that will drive the intentions. Let's have the garment factory. Garment factory, aside from the fact that when the factory after he has failed about 2 or 3 period of commissioning. When they started this project in 2020, and the good thing about the project was that the structure was there, not that they funded it with millions of blocks. You will remember that this was a cargo factory.
Please don't love that so that the fan will not come and take their life from us.
No, don't let us go that side, please. So now, between 2020, if I will ask you, when was the garment factory commissioned?
I don't have the dates.
I'm talking about here.
I don't have the dates.
But you know it has been commissioned.
Yes, I know it has.
I know it has commissioned maybe recently.
Yes.
I know it is recently.
I'm not sure maybe it's recently.
You may even guess maybe it's under this second tenure of government.
I wouldn't, but I know it's in operation.
But you know that it started in 2020.
Yes, I know that it has been there like
2020. But the question now is that garment factory, from the advert, they said it's going to create jobs.
I even interviewed a government spokesperson that told us that the government was negotiating with Nike so that we can be the hub for West Africa.
Negotiating with Nike, maybe like second or the third company. Because initially they said Bangladesh or one company will come before they ended having this beautiful woman that is there now. Yeah, the woman is good. She's trying her best. but you can only work within the resources you have. Do you get that? So that is about garment factory. I don't want to talk much about the garment factory.
Okay. Are you saying no? But we say that garment factory is a success.
I've asked you the questions. They said the garment factory is going to generate works for
There are people there. There are people working there.
thousands of jobs.
Like there are people working there, and then
You are
direct. I'm trying to make an analogy. There are direct employment and indirect employment. Some people sell wool for them. Some people sell that is employment. You don't have to be the people that do salary. No.
But when we know, we will discuss it. But you are a journalist. Go and do further findings.
But
I won't talk more than that. Now let's go on the film factory. Thank God that a video was set out this recently that
Doba production.
Now the question we ask is that what was the intention of the government for establishing that sort of
like film. Nigeria is the second largest movie producer in the whole world after Bollywood, and it's a very big market. Like the governor said himself, I watched the interview. It's a very big market. We can leverage. You can see that these people, Ibrahim Chata, Kunle Afolayan, I heard the Bush. I'm not sure if the Salami family are trying to create their own. So if we can have that, people come here, they pay us, produce their movies, and we get that money for it. You can see Netflix is here, Pride is here, everybody is here to tap into it. We don't want to be left out.
But you don't allow me to ask my questions. I only mentioned sugar factory.
Okay.
We don't know whether I wanted to praise the government or not.
Hey, I was just trying to tell you what's the vision behind sugar film factory.
Okay, now let me now ask you these questions. How many film has sugar film factory?
It's still growing. It's a new project.
Okay. They've not started operation.
No, we have started operation. You've seen the.
When did the government start?
I'm not sure. I don't have the date, but at least we have the same production from that. But you have seen a movie Akuji. We have seen another one that was handled by the SSA on tourism and culture, Mr. Ray.
So what we are telling me is that the intention of the government with that project is to be producing film periodically.
No, we can. We're not making people will later key in because others will.
Do we have the competitive advantage in that industry?
Well, I've not been to film factory. Maybe when I get there.
But you are not in that industry.
We'll try and do an exclusive on that. But that is the vision that the government has advertised.
Fatra Center and the Innovation Hub. They are also project the government to
successes of this
administration. I'm only working with what the government tells us.
Exactly.
I'm not saying whether they are success or they are not success. Every project of government is a success.
Exactly.
The success may not come now, it may come later. That's why I said that there are two different things. You see that you don't see what the government invested money in, or what they invested money in.
Sir, we're already out of time. But I want to ask you some questions and then you back it up and then we run it up. This government, the Otoge struggle, was one of the things you said. That was said that they wanted to correct was impunity and then unconstitutional dealings. We wanted to eliminate everything. Wanted a government that would run with constitution. But this government took 5 years, 5 whole years to conduct the local government election. People are still grumbling and rumbling about the local government election anyway. But the court has certified the people that are there, and we're even though we don't have the figures. But are you happy that a government, okay, Kwara said they want to put things in place, took 5 years to conduct local government election, number one. Number two, I think recently we have an FYB that said the governor must sign before anybody gets married. So if the governor does not like your name, does not like your face, he will not give it. There's nothing that compels the governor to sign. Only that the governor has to sign. If he doesn't sign, then nothing happens. Please, I think I want us to pack it up.
It's a very simple calculations. It's like mathematics. Democracy that we practice, the hallmark of democracy is good governance. The good governance has its elements. I think I've said it on this platform. The first element is the rule of law. Law is supreme. the supremacy of law. Law is above everybody. The immediately some people are seeing themselves above the law, it becomes a problem.
Is anybody above the law in Kwara State?
The issue of FOI, it was passed by the National Assembly.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court has also decided on it that law is not limited to the federal government, it's extended to that.
Yes.
You could remember that during the first tenure of Madam Abraham Abrasa,
Yes.
the same FOI bill
Was sent to
was
the
sent
National- to the House of Assembly in
Assembly.
2019. Yes.
You know, and what they are requesting there was not the issue of this section 31, section
Yes,
1.
yes, yes. It's just to make some amendment.
So-
Till and to all.
But now that the Supreme Court has made pronouncement on it, the government return it. We don't need to bother about it. The NBA has spoken, the Nigeria Bar has spoken, different organizations have spoken. It's so unfortunate that the State House of Assembly, under a very good friend and he amiable leader of the House of Assembly, comrade engineer. Okay, comrade.
He was a comrade.
Yeah, comrade. Yes, I know. He's a comrade.
He's still a comrade.
Yes, he's a comrade.
Okay, sir. Are you proud of
engineer.
your comrade? And
Comrade
like you are
engineer.
the League of Comrade in Kwara. Are you proud of your?
But I removed comrade in my name more than 3 or 4 years.
Okay, before when we started this program, you said you talk about your League of Comrade, the people that the comrade.
Yes, I said. So as I was saying,
are you okay?
As I was saying,
with the comrade,
it was so unfortunate that we invited people for public hearing, and the majority of the people said no, and you went ahead to pass the law, and you are even telling people at that event that you will pass the law. So that means that the voice of the people, the voice of the people.
When you are the sharing,
I'm telling you,
like you are saying
the voice.
authoritatively. You are saying something authoritatively.
I said many people. We find the people that are there. I have my people there. Let me tell you, and I got the report. Do I need to tell you?
Okay, sir.
Do I need to tell you
Okay,
that many people there that were there, they said no, and the house said yes.
There were people there that said yes.
And unfortunately,
a lot of people said yes too. I'll give you the list of people that said yes.
Yes.
Ministry of Communication, Ministry of Justice, SSG office,
all those, sorry now, imagine.
TUC did not disagree with Section 31. I can tell you.
What did the TUC say?
They said they wanted the definitive definition for the word injury in Section 11. They don't have.
You see all this Ministry of Justice, Ministry of this, Ministry of that. You know that they represent one voice, the voice of the government. Period.
The voice of the government or the government.
The government.
The government.
Yes, I don't want to use
the power was given to the governor, not the government.
I don't want to use the government.
The power, the Section 31 power was given to the governor.
They speak. They hear their voice as agents of the government.
Agent of the governor
Of the government. But perhaps they are not promoting the voice of the governor. Okay. So that's number one. The issue, and then the issue of FY is not coming. FY formally is coming to address the issue of transparency
and accountability.
If you don't have transparency, you cannot have accountability.
You come back to discuss this FY.
We started very late.
We'll talk about this FY. What about the local government election? Let's cap it up.
The issue of local government election, we should stop deceiving ourselves. It's so unfortunate that the people are still grumbling over that election, which shows that the people are not happy about the result of the election.
Okay.
You know, this is very clear. It's audible to the
and feasible to
the blind. So we need to be discussing that. Yes, we don't have anything to say. The court has affirmed the announcement of the Kwasek. But we walk in the streets, ask questions, you will see that the people are still grumbling.
But talk about the years. It took this long.
Years. No, I've said something earlier. I spoke about the rule of law. If some people are seeing themselves above the law,
who is above the law?
Whoever that is not doing something or governing adherence to law.
Who is not governing in adherence to law?
Any government, any governor that does not uphold what the Constitution says.
Like, is there any place that the Constitution says that a governor must can just sit down in his room and say, okay, I don't want to have a local government governors for 5 years?
And why do you have to start putting that for? Why can't we say that? Is there any second that said that the government that give the governor power not to conduct election?
Thank you very much, our viewers. I think that's a very good place to leave it. When you have Comrade Bola Kale, it's fire. And I promise you, I'll bring you back on this issue of FYB.
It's very important, please.
All right.